Dr. Samantha Gray stared out the viewport of Jupiter Station, watching the gas giant's swirling clouds below. After 3 years on this research station, the view still took her breath away. She turned back to her microscope, where samples of brain tissue from the station's crew awaited her examination. As a neurobiologist specializing in human adaptation to space environments, her work was critical to humanity's expansion beyond Earth. The alarm blared suddenly, startling her. The station's AI spoke calmly over the speakers. "Attention all personnel. Unknown vessels approaching. This is not a drill. All staff report to emergency stations." Samantha quickly secured her samples and rushed to the command center. Captain Olivia Martinez stood before the main screen, her face pale as she studied the approaching ships. "What are we looking at?" Samantha asked, joining the growing crowd of scientists and crew. "Something impossible," Olivia replied quietly. "They're not one of ours." The ships moved with impossible grace, their sleek hulls reflecting Jupiter's light in patterns that seemed almost alive. There were 5 of them, arranged in a perfect pentagon formation, each about the size of an Earth aircraft carrier, but shaped like flattened teardrops. Communications Officer Pete Dawson's voice cracked as he spoke. They're hailing us." In English. "Put it through," Olivia ordered. The screen flickered, and Samantha felt her heart stop. The being on screen had blue-tinted skin that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. Its eyes were large and entirely black, set in a face that was almost human but not quite. 4 slim fingers tapped against what appeared to be a control panel. "Greetings, humans of Earth's Jupiter Station," the being said, its mouth moving oddly around the words. "I am Ambassador Zix Tar of the Galactic Council. We come in peace and with great interest in your species." The room fell silent. Humanity had searched the stars for signs of intelligent life for generations. Now the stars had come to them. "This is Captain Olivia Martinez of Jupiter Research Station. We welcome you," Olivia managed to say. The alien's face moved in what might have been a smile. "Your species has been under observation for some time. You have now reached a developmental stage where contact is permitted under Council protocols." Over the next 12 hours, Jupiter Station became the center of human history. Earth governments scrambled to send representatives. The media went wild, and Samantha found herself selected as part of the initial scientific team to meet with the aliens face to face. "Why me?" she asked Research Director Ben Howard as they prepared for the aliens to dock. "They specifically requested experts in human biology," Ben explained. "They seem particularly interested in neurological sciences." "That's you, Sam." The docking bay had been converted into a makeshift reception area. Samantha stood alongside 5 other scientists, 3 military officers, and 2 diplomats. Her palms were sweating inside her latex gloves. The airlock cycled open. Ambassador Zix Tar stepped through first, followed by 4 other aliens of different species. One was tall and insect-like, another resembled a bipedal feline. The third was short with gray skin and 4 arms, and the last moved like flowing water inside what appeared to be a containment suit. "We thank you for your welcome," Zix Tar said, bowing slightly. "The Council represents over 300 spacefaring civilizations. Earth is the first new species discovered in this sector in over 500 years. The insect-like alien stepped forward, its mandibles clicking. "I am Science Director Krell. We are most interested in your physiological adaptability, particularly your neural systems." Samantha found her voice. "I'm Dr. Samantha Gray, neurobiologist. I study how human brains adapt to space environments." All 5 aliens focused on her immediately. The atmosphere in the room shifted. "The human brain," Zix Tar said slowly. "Yes, that is of particular interest to us. We have many questions about its capabilities." Samantha nodded politely, unaware that she stood at the threshold of a discovery that would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. The interest these aliens showed in human brains seemed odd, but she had no way of knowing yet just how unique humans truly were among the stars. 3 weeks after first contact, Samantha sat in a conference room aboard Jupiter Station. The walls were lined with screens showing the faces of world leaders and top scientists from Earth. Ambassador Sixt Tor stood at the center of the room, flanked by 2 of his alien colleagues. The Galactic Council extends a formal invitation to humanity, the blue-skinned alien announced. We request a delegation to visit our central headquarters in the Orion Arm. The room erupted in excited chatter. This was unprecedented. Humans traveling beyond the solar system for the first time. How will we get there? Asked the UN Secretary General from the main screen. Our fastest ships would take decades to reach even the nearest star. Science Director Krell clicked his mandibles. We will provide transport. Your delegation will travel aboard one of our vessels. After hours of discussion, the final decision was made. Earth would send 5 representatives. Samantha as the biology expert, military liaison Major Kevin Powell, linguist Dr. Lisa Johnson, diplomat Alan Wright, and Captain Eric Daniels to pilot the newly completed U.S. Horizon, which would be modified with alien technology for the journey. 2 days later, Samantha packed her research equipment in her small quarters. She carefully placed brain scan records and tissue samples in specialized containers. A knock at her door interrupted her work. "Come in," she called. Captain Eric Daniels entered. He was tall with broad shoulders and a serious expression. "Dr. Gray," he said with a nod. "I wanted to introduce myself before we leave tomorrow." "Nice to meet you, Captain," Samantha replied. "First human to pilot a ship beyond our solar system. How does it feel?" Eric smiled slightly. "Terrifying and amazing at the same time. The aliens have attached some kind of faster-than-light drive to the horizon. They say we'll reach their headquarters in just 6 days. 6 days to travel hundreds of light years," Samantha whispered. "It's hard to believe." The next morning, the human delegation boarded the U.S. Horizon. The ship looked strange now, with alien technology grafted onto its hull like shimmering blue growths. Ambassador Sixt and Science Director Krell joined them for the journey. As they prepared for departure, Samantha noticed Krell watching her closely. Dr. Gray, the insect-like alien, said, mandibles clicking softly. "During our journey, I hope to learn more about human neural pathways. The way your species processes information is unusual." "I'd be happy to share my research," Samantha replied. "I'm curious about your species as well." The launch was smooth. One moment they were near Jupiter, and the next, stars streaked past the viewports as the ship entered what Sixt called fold space. During the journey, the aliens continued their odd fascination with human physiology. On the 3rd day, Samantha found herself in the ship's lab with Krell and Lisa, the linguist. Krell displayed a hologram showing the neural structures of various alien species. "Notice the pattern," Krell said. "All council species have neural pathways that are fixed after early development. Once established, they remain unchanged throughout life." Samantha studied the images, but human brains don't work that way. Our neural pathways are constantly changing. "Yes," Krell replied, his voice vibrating strangely. "This is why we are so interested. In all our travels, we have never encountered a species with your level of, what do you call it?" "Neuroplasticity," Samantha offered. "Yes, neuroplasticity." The aliens seemed to struggle with the word. It is theoretically impossible according to galactic biological science. On the 6th day, Eric called everyone to the bridge. Through the viewport, they got their first look at the massive Galactic Council headquarters. It was an enormous ring-shaped structure floating in space, with thousands of ships coming and going. Lights twinkled across its surface like a city in space. "Home to over 300 spacefaring civilizations," Sixt said proudly. "And now, humanity will be presented to them all." As the horizon approached the station, Samantha felt a mix of excitement and unease. The aliens' interest in human brains seemed increasingly significant, though she couldn't yet understand why. Something big awaited them at this meeting of worlds. The U.S. Horizon docked at the massive Galactic Council station. As Samantha and the human delegation stepped through the airlock, they were met by a crowd of aliens. Creatures of all shapes, sizes, and colors filled the arrival hall, many with recording devices pointed at the humans. "They're treating us like celebrities," whispered Lisa as they walked through the crowd. Ambassador Zixtar led them forward. "Many species have never seen a human before. You are something of a curiosity." Samantha noticed that many aliens were staring specifically at their heads. Some pointed and whispered to each other. They were escorted to private quarters to rest before the formal council introduction. The rooms were comfortable but strange, with oddly shaped furniture and lighting that shifted colors slowly. "Did you notice how they all stared at us?" Major Kevin Powell asked during their private dinner. "Like we're some kind of sideshow." Alan Wright, the diplomat, shrugged. "We'd do the same if aliens landed on Earth." "It's more than that," Samantha said. "They seem fixated on our heads, on our brains." The next morning, they were led to the Grand Council chamber. The room was enormous, with rising tiers of seats filled with representatives from hundreds of species. At the center was a raised platform where the human delegation stood. Grand Arbiter Neil Vox, a tall humanoid with silvery skin and no visible eyes, spoke first. "Today we welcome the first human delegation to the Galactic Council. As is tradition for new contact species, we invite them to share knowledge of their biology and culture." Ambassador Zixtar turned to Samantha. "Dr. Gray, would you please present information about human adaptability? This is of particular interest." Samantha stepped forward nervously. A holographic display activated in front of her, showing human anatomical images that the aliens had collected during their studies. "Thank you," she began. "Humans evolved on a planet with rapidly changing conditions, which shaped our development. One of our most important features is our brain's adaptability." She brought up images of human brain scans. Unlike many species, human neural pathways are not fixed after development. Our brains constantly rewire themselves throughout our lives. We call this neuroplasticity. When we learn new skills, our brains physically change. When one part of our brain is damaged, other parts can often take over its functions. The chamber erupted in noise. Aliens turned to each other, some standing, others making loud vocalizations in various languages. Samantha looked around in confusion. "Did I say something wrong?" she asked Zixtar. Before he could answer, one alien stood and shouted something that made the translator in Samantha's ear buzz with feedback. "Impossible." The translation finally came through. "No species can rewire neural matter after formation. The human is making false claims." Another alien, reptilian with bright orange scales, rose. "If this is true, they are the changing minds from the ancient texts." The chamber descended into chaos. Grand Arbiter Neil Vox raised his hands, and a deep tone resonated through the room, silencing everyone. "This session is suspended," he announced. "The council will convene in closed emergency session. The human delegation will return to their quarters until summoned." As they were escorted out, Samantha saw fear on many alien faces. Others looked at them with what seemed like reverence. Back in their quarters, the humans gathered in confusion. "What just happened?" Eric asked. Lisa was working frantically on her portable translator. "I've been analyzing language patterns since we arrived. There are references in multiple alien languages to something called minds that change, or the adaptable ones. It seems to be some kind of myth or prophecy." "They're afraid of us," Kevin said, his military training making him alert to potential threats. "But why?" Samantha stared out the viewport at the stars. "Because we can do something they can't. Our brains can change, and somehow, that terrifies them." The humans waited in their quarters for 6 hours before Ambassador Zixtar finally returned. His blue skin seemed paler than before, and his movements were stiff. "The council has been in emergency session," he said. "Your revelation about neuroplasticity has caused complications." "I don't understand," Samantha said. Every human has neuroplasticity. It's basic biology for us. Zixtar sat down heavily. For the rest of the galaxy, it is not basic. It is extraordinary. No known species has the ability to form new neural pathways after early development. Dr. Jack Nelson, the team's physician, frowned. That's hard to believe. How do you learn new things without forming new connections? We learn through chemical encoding of existing pathways, Zixtar explained. Our neural structures are fixed, though the signals that travel them can change somewhat. But creating entirely new pathways, it was considered theoretically impossible. The ambassador looked directly at Samantha. The council has a request. Would you allow some of our scientists to observe human brain function more directly? After discussion, the team agreed. The next day, Samantha and Jack found themselves in a medical lab with alien scientists from 5 different species. A volunteer group of aliens had agreed to brain scans for comparison. Jack performed the scans while Samantha explained the results. This is a human brain, she said, pointing to the holographic display. Notice these connections forming between neurons. This is happening constantly throughout our lives. She then displayed the alien brain scanned side by side with the human ones. Your neural structures are indeed different. You have fewer connections, and they appear fixed in position. The alien scientists murmured to each other. One of them, a jellyfish-like creature floating in a special suit, spoke through a translator. By our calculations, humans have approximately 50 times more neural connections than any council species, and the ability to form new ones. It is remarkable. As they worked, Lisa entered the lab with Alan Wright. Her face was excited. I've been granted access to some of the council's historical texts, she said. There are references to an ancient species with minds that change. Many council races have myths about them. She displayed translations on her tablet. The adaptable ones will return when the galaxy faces its greatest challenge. They will think in ways that cannot be predicted, change in ways that cannot be measured. Some council species view these legends as religious prophecies. Alan added, others see them as warnings about dangerous beings. Later that day, Samantha met a scientist named Krizel, a member of an advanced race called the Luminary. Unlike most aliens, she seemed fascinated rather than frightened by human neuroplasticity. Your ability to adapt is extraordinary, Krizel said as they walked through the station's botanical garden. Most species in the council evolve very slowly because their neural patterns are fixed. They must wait for genetic changes over generations to adapt to new situations. But humans can adapt within a single lifetime, Samantha replied. Exactly, Krizel said. One human can learn, change, and grow more in a single year than some species can in 1,000 years of evolution. It makes you unpredictable. Is that why some council members fear us? Krizel stopped beside a plant with glowing blue leaves. The Vrax Imperium sees your adaptability as a threat to the established order. They believe species should develop along predictable paths. And what do you believe? Samantha asked. I believe your arrival may be exactly what the galaxy needs. Krizel's eyes glowed slightly. But be careful. Not everyone shares my view. There are those who would seek to study human brains through invasive means. As they continued walking, Samantha felt a chill. The unique feature that made humans special might also put them in danger. Their brains, something they had always taken for granted, were viewed as almost magical by the rest of the galaxy. News about human neuroplasticity spread quickly through the Galactic Council station. Aliens reacted in different ways. Some watched the humans with fear, others with curiosity, and some with what seemed like religious awe. Major Kevin Powell noticed the changes first. We're being followed, he told the team during breakfast in their quarters. Different aliens each day, but always someone watching us. Samantha had noticed too. Yesterday, an alien child reached out to touch my head. Its parent pulled it away like I was dangerous. The situation grew more serious when Ambassador Zixtar arrived with 6 armed guards. I apologize for this, he said, but there have been threats against your delegation. The council is divided about humanity's status. Alan Wright, ever the diplomat, asked, divided how exactly? The council has split into factions, Six-Star explained. The Progressive Alliance, led by the Luminary, believes humans should be welcomed and your neuroplasticity studied for the benefit of all species. And the opposition? Eric asked. The Vrax Imperium leads those who see humans as a potential threat. They argue that a species that can adapt so quickly is unpredictable and dangerous. That afternoon, Samantha met with Krizel in a secure laboratory. 2 guards stood by the door. The situation is becoming difficult, Krizel said as they examined brain scans together. The Vrax have proposed that humans be quarantined to your solar system until your neuroplasticity can be better understood. Quarantined? Samantha was shocked. That would cut us off from interstellar travel just when we've discovered we're not alone. Krizel's face showed concern. There is worse news. My contacts tell me that Vrax agents may be planning to capture a human for detailed study. You mean dissection? Samantha said quietly. I fear so. Later that evening, Kevin burst into the team's common room, his face tense. I just caught someone trying to access our quarters, he said. An alien I haven't seen before. When I confronted it, it ran. The humans gathered around the table to discuss the situation. We need to be careful, Eric said. But we also need to show the council that human neuroplasticity isn't a threat. Lisa nodded. Some species see us as the fulfillment of ancient prophecies. We could use that. Or, Jack suggested, we could demonstrate how neuroplasticity works. Show them it's a natural process, not something magical or dangerous. As they talked, the door chimed. It was Grand Arbiter Neil Vox himself, flanked by guards. I apologize for the late hour, he said, his silver skin reflecting the room's lights, but I felt it necessary to speak with you directly. The humans invited him in. Neil Vox moved with fluid grace as he sat down. The discovery of human neuroplasticity has caused the greatest council crisis in 1,000 years, he said. Some see you as saviors, others as threats. We're neither, Samantha replied. We're just people. Perhaps, Neil Vox said. But you must understand, your adaptability terrifies many species. They evolved in stable environments where change happens slowly. Their brains reflect this. Stable, predictable, unchanging. While humans evolved in a constantly changing environment, Samantha added, we needed to adapt quickly to survive. Exactly. Neil Vox's voice grew softer. And now we face a decision. The Vrax delegation has formally proposed classifying humans as a developmental anomaly to be studied from a distance. They fear direct contact with your species could destabilize Council civilization. That's ridiculous, Eric said. Perhaps, Neil Vox replied. But fear is powerful. Unless you can demonstrate that human neuroplasticity is beneficial rather than threatening, the vote may go against you. After the Arbiter left, the humans sat in silence. We need to change their minds, Samantha finally said. And I think I know how. The next morning, the human team met with Ambassador Zixtar and Krizel to share Samantha's plan. I want to give a public demonstration of human neuroplasticity, Samantha explained. Not just talk about it, but show it happening in real time. Krizel's eyes widened. How would you do this? I'll learn something considered impossible for non-natives, something that would require my brain to physically change to accomplish. Ambassador Zixtar thought for a moment. The harmonics language of the Malaxi people. It requires vocal structures humans don't possess and brain patterns unique to their species. Perfect, Samantha said. If I can learn even the basics of this language, it will prove how adaptable human brains are. Krizel looked concerned. The Malaxi language has never been learned by any other species. Their tonal requirements are too complex. That's exactly why it's perfect, Samantha replied with determination. It took 2 days to arrange. The council provided a large chamber where hundreds of representatives could observe. The luminary brought special neural imaging technology that would project Samantha's brain activity as a hologram for all to see. On the day of the demonstration, Samantha sat in the center of the chamber. Thin sensors were attached to her scalp. Above her, a giant hologram showed her brain structure, with colors indicating neural activity. Grand Arbiter Neil Vox addressed the gathered council. Dr. Samantha Gray of Earth has volunteered to demonstrate human neuroplasticity. She will attempt to learn basic Malaxi communication, which has never been mastered by any non-Malaxi species. A Malaxi teacher stepped forward. The alien looked almost like a walking musical instrument, with skin that vibrated in complex patterns. When it spoke, the sounds were like music, with multiple tones happening at once. For the first hour, Samantha struggled. The council watched as she tried to replicate the sounds, failing repeatedly. The hologram of her brain showed minimal changes. "This is pointless," a Vrax representative called out. "Their adaptability is clearly exaggerated." But Samantha kept trying. By the second hour, something started to happen. The hologram showed new connections forming in her auditory processing regions. Her attempts at Malaxi sounds became slightly better. "Look at the neural activity," Krizel pointed out to the council. "New pathways are forming before our eyes." By the end of the first day, Samantha could make simple Malaxi greeting sounds. The hologram showed significant changes in her brain structure. The council chamber was buzzing with excitement and disbelief. On the second day, more council members came to watch. Some brought recording devices. The Malaxi teacher seemed amazed as Samantha began to understand simple phrases. "The human brain is physically reorganizing to process our language," the Malaxi explained to the council. "This should not be possible." By the third day, Samantha could carry on a basic conversation in Malaxi. The hologram showed dramatic changes in her neural pathways. New connections had formed throughout her brain, creating patterns similar to those in Malaxi brains. When she completed a complex Malaxi greeting ritual, the chamber erupted in sounds of amazement. Many council members stood, making gestures of respect in their various cultural ways. A group of elderly aliens entered the chamber. They moved slowly, their bodies showing signs of great age. "The quorum," Krizel whispered to the humans, "the oldest and most respected species in the council. They rarely appear in public." The lead quorum member approached Samantha. Its skin was pale and almost transparent, showing complex organs beneath. "The ancient texts speak truth," it said in a voice that sounded like wind through leaves. "The adaptable ones have returned as foretold. Those with minds that change will bring transformation to the static galaxy." The Vrax representatives hissed in disagreement, but many other council members bowed to the quorum's words. "The demonstration has shown what words could not explain," Grand Arbiter Neil Vox announced. "Human neuroplasticity is real and remarkable." Samantha smiled tiredly. The demonstration had worked better than she had hoped, but her exhausted brain had no time to rest. A sudden commotion erupted at the chamber entrance. Major Kevin Powell burst in, his face pale. "There's been an attack," he shouted. "Captain Daniels is badly hurt." The council chamber emptied quickly as Samantha and the others rushed to the medical facility. They found Eric lying on a strange bed surrounded by alien medical devices. His eyes were closed, and his breathing was shallow. "What happened?" Samantha asked, her voice shaking. "Vrax soldiers," Kevin said grimly. "They attacked our quarters. Said they were taking Eric for special research, but I think they meant dissection. When he fought back, they injured him." Dr. Jack Nelson examined Eric with help from alien medical staff. His face grew more serious by the minute. "Spinal injury," he finally announced. "The nerve connections between his brain and lower body are severely damaged." Ambassador Zix Tor stepped forward, his blue skin pale with distress. "I must apologize on behalf of the council. The attackers have been captured. They will face justice." An alien doctor, a six-limbed being with eyes on stalks, approached them. "We have assessed Captain Daniels' condition. Unfortunately, with such severe neural damage, Recovery of function is impossible. What do you mean, impossible? Samantha asked. Once neural pathways are destroyed, they cannot be restored, the alien doctor explained simply. This is medical fact. Jack and Samantha exchanged glances. Maybe for your species, Jack said, but humans are different. Our neuroplasticity, Samantha added. Human nerves can regrow, reconnect. Our brains can create new pathways around damaged areas. The alien medical staff looked confused. Impossible, one repeated. No, Jack insisted. It's difficult and slow, but possible. We need to treat him the human way. A heated debate followed. The alien doctors insisted that once neural connections were severed, function was permanently lost. This was accepted medical science across the galaxy. Finally, Grand Arbiter Neil Box arrived and listened to both sides. If human neuroplasticity is as remarkable as claimed, he said thoughtfully, then perhaps we should allow their methods. I propose this be documented, suggested Krizel. If humans can truly restore function after such damage, it would revolutionize galactic medicine. The council agreed. Jack and Samantha were given permission to treat Eric using human medical techniques. Word spread quickly, and alien medical professionals from across the station came to observe. Over the next several days, Jack worked tirelessly. He stabilized Eric's spine and administered special drugs that would encourage nerve regrowth. Samantha helped design physical therapy that would stimulate new neural connections. This is a waste of time, one Vrax doctor commented loudly. Neural tissue cannot regenerate once damaged. But the humans ignored the doubters and continued their work. After 2 weeks, Eric opened his eyes. The room was filled with alien observers, recording devices hovering in the air. Can you feel this? Jack asked, touching Eric's foot with a small device. Eric concentrated hard. Maybe, yes, something. Like pins and needles. The aliens murmured in shock. According to their medical science, this was impossible. 3 weeks later, Eric could wiggle his toes. A month after that, he moved his legs slightly. The alien doctors were stunned. Many came daily just to watch his progress and the brain scans that showed new neural pathways forming to bypass the damaged areas. Your species truly is remarkable, Grand Arbiter Neilbach said one day as he observed Eric's therapy session. What your bodies can do defies our understanding of biology. Meanwhile, the Vrax conspirators were put on trial. Their defense was simple. They claimed humans were too dangerous to be allowed free access to the galaxy. With brains that could adapt so quickly, humans might soon dominate all other species. Look at how they change, the Vrax leader argued before the council. They can learn languages thought impossible to learn. They can recover from injuries we consider permanent. What will stop them from changing in other ways we cannot predict? But the quorum spoke against this view. The ancient texts tell of the adaptable ones, not as conquerors, but as healers, their elders said. Their changing minds were meant to help us all evolve. As Eric continued his slow recovery, the debate about humanity's place in the galaxy raged on. Samantha found herself at the center of it all, trying to explain how something humans took for granted, their adaptable brains, could change the course of galactic history. 6 months passed. The human delegation remained at the Galactic Council headquarters, now treated with a mix of respect, curiosity, and lingering caution. Eric's recovery had progressed far beyond what any alien doctor had thought possible. He walked with a slight limp but could move under his own power, something that would have been impossible for any other species with similar injuries. The therapy is working better than I hoped, Jack told Samantha as they watched Eric practice walking across the medical bay. His brain has created entirely new neural pathways, Samantha said, looking at the latest scans. The old damaged connections have been bypassed. News of Eric's recovery spread throughout the council. Medical professionals from hundreds of worlds requested information about human neuroplasticity. Some even asked to study under Jack and Samantha. Grand Arbiter Neilbox called a special council session. The humans stood in the center of the great chamber, facing representatives from all member worlds. After much deliberation, Neil Vox announced, "The Council has voted. Earth is formally invited to become a full member world of the Galactic Council." The chamber filled with sound as most representatives showed approval in their various ways. Even some Vracs nodded reluctantly. "This is unprecedented," Neil Vox continued. "No species has ever been offered membership so quickly after first contact. But these are unprecedented times." Ambassador Zix Tor stepped forward. "Humanity's neuroplasticity offers new hope for many council worlds. Already, techniques based on human neural adaptation have shown promise in treating conditions we thought permanent." Alan Wright officially accepted the invitation on behalf of Earth. The chamber erupted in celebration. Later that day, Samantha walked with Krizel through the station's garden area. "I never expected any of this," Samantha admitted. "Our brains are just normal to us." Krizel made a sound like gentle laughter. "What is normal to one species can be miraculous to another. Your neuroplasticity has already led to medical breakthroughs. We've developed new treatments based on your brain's ability to create new neural pathways." "I've been meaning to ask you something," Samantha said. "The quorum mentioned ancient texts about the adaptable ones. What exactly do those texts say?" Krizel was quiet for a moment. "The oldest records speak of a race that seeded the galaxy with life billions of years ago. Before they vanished, they created many species, each with different gifts. But one species was given the gift of adaptation, minds that could change and grow throughout their lives. You think that's us, humans. The quorum believes so. There are even suggestions that human DNA was specifically altered to enhance neuroplasticity." Before Samantha could respond, they reached a new area of the station she hadn't seen before. Through a large viewport, she saw an enormous medical facility under construction. "The new Interspecies Neural Research Center," Krizel explained. "Your government has agreed to send human doctors and scientists. You will be its first director, if you accept." Samantha stared in amazement. "Me? Who better? Your understanding of neuroplasticity has already changed how we view medicine." In another part of the station, several alien children were attempting to learn piano. Their fingers moved awkwardly on keys designed for human hands, but they kept trying. A human teacher guided them patiently. 6 months ago, these children couldn't have learned this instrument, Krizel said. Their neural patterns were too rigid. But using techniques developed from studying human neuroplasticity, they're slowly developing new neural pathways. Samantha watched as one child successfully played a simple melody. The look of joy on its alien face was unmistakable. "This is just the beginning," Krizel said. "A galaxy-wide renaissance of neural adaptation. And there's something else you should know." "What's that?" "Several council worlds have reported the first signs of a neurological condition affecting multiple species. It causes neural pathways to degrade. Until now, we had no hope of treatment. But now you have us," Samantha said, understanding. "Yes," Krizel replied. "The species with minds that change may be the only ones who can help a galaxy of minds that cannot." As Samantha looked out at the stars, she realized that the simple human ability they had always taken for granted, their adaptable brains, might be the greatest gift humanity could offer to the galaxy.